afternoon.
Hi, Jade.
I'm Lady Jade. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to use my accent. So, this is the League of Excellent Extraordinary Negroes. We are talking about Bridgerton today, and this is the panel for the day. Carla Stillwell,
Hello.
Lady Grand Duchess Stacy,
of Arizona, Arkansas.
Arkansas.
and Sir Nick of
Sir
Hastings.
Nick of Hastings. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
So, before we got started, we were already deep in conversation about the character and actor that has probably brought so many people to watch Bridgerton, um, Reggae Jean.
Reggae Jean.
And so Carla was telling us to watch something and about his persona.
So Reggae Jean was on, and I can't remember if it was Kimmel or what's the other late night with the Roots.
Alan.
I can't remember which one. But if you Google it, it'll pop up because it just happened like a couple of weeks ago. He was on doing an interview, and you have to know that he is as sweet and snuggle and adorable as you would want him to be. Like, you know, the fear is usually that somebody that looks like that is a whole middle of the hole. But this boy, he's so sweet. He's so nice. He's so humble. He's been an actor his whole life. His people are unimpressed with him. No one is impressed in his life. No one that knows him is impressed with him because he's been doing it professionally since he was a kid. And he's just sweet. So it's just another reason, as we discuss him, you can just know that in his real life, he's a snuggle bunny.
To like him even more.
I can tell.
Yes.
I can just tell, like, by the way that he carries himself on screen, that he just came to do his job. You know what I mean? Like, he just showed up to work, and he took it seriously. Mm-hmm. He didn't realize that he was becoming an icon in this moment.
And now that he knows it, like, they pointed out to him, like, he was talking about you for Bond. He was like, yeah, every time a black Brit comes up, they're the next James Bond. He was like, whatever. He really was like, oh, yes, yeah, put me with the J. That's great. Like, I'm a black Brit. But what he did talk about a lot was the hours of dancing they had, which is another reason you know he's a real actor. Because he was like, man, it was hard, but it was great. And we danced for hours. So he's like, he's a nice kid. I'm excited for his journey. I was saying to y'all before we went live that he gives me Trevor Noah realness. Like, he has that same kind of Trevor Noah energy and humor about him.
And he's Zimbabwean and English.
Mm-hmm.
That's intriguing.
Yeah, and the little snippet of an interview that I saw with him, he was talking about being like having an experience growing up like Trevor did, being a crime because they were under the same system of apartheid. So, yeah, he's a very interesting character and a person.
Isn't he in Sylvie's Love too?
He is.
He is, yeah. Same air, same confidence, same I'm here, but this is not my whole, this is not my life. I'm just gonna do for whatever time I have to be, and then I'm on to something else. Same thing.
Yeah. It's a job. A great job, but
I would just like to uplift Judy's comment from Facebook. She told me to get in line. We're clearly already married. I am Nick of Hastings.
Yes.
I don't know what line you're standing in, but it's past you. It's
is it above her now? Is it above you now? Like,
it's above me now. Like, I can't deal with it. I can't.
Well, before we get too much into Bridgerton, I have to ask my probing question. What is your relationship with the soaps, also known as the stories?
I grew up on Channel 7, ABC. It was Channel 7 in Chicago, ABC stories, which were, when I was growing up, it was Ryan's Hope, All My Children, One Life to Live, General Hospital, and The Edge of Night. And my grandmother and my mother watched them all.
Same
Which means
experience.
you were home, you watched them too.
That's right. That's right.
My favorite was All My Children. Out of all of them, I loved All My Children.
Well, we were a CBS family. We started with Young and the Restless, and we went all through the day. We would switch over, I do believe, for All My Children, and then switch back
Yes.
for As the World Turns and The Guiding Light.
Oh, that's fancy. Y'all did that.
Yes.
Oh,
That's exactly what my grandmother did.
Mm-hmm.
We would switch for All My Children, and I really feel like it was because they had Black people on All My Children.
Absolutely, I agree.
And then we would switch back after lunch. The whole day was dictated by soap operas. My grandmother, she set her doctor's appointments in the morning, and then we were home by 11 because we had to. That's Young and the Restless. 11 o'clock. And
Okay,
then
so I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you feel like watching the soap operas, you learned how to carry yourself in some ways, in some situations? I mean, do you find any influence in that? Because I find myself, remember how they would always take their earrings off before they use the phone? Do you remember that? They would always be like, yes.
That's
No one
hilarious.
remembers that? Nobody remembers that. They would always be like,
Yes. It was a whole thing. It was the flip, the earring, and then the phone.
And then
Okay.
Yes,
I have a question.
Yeah.
So my mom watched Young and the Restless, and my cousin watched Passions. So that's where I spent like most of my time. But where does Touched by an Angel fall on the like?
It's not a soap opera. No,
a soap opera?
it's not a soap opera. It's not stories.
Because I remember like I haven't watched it in years. I remember glimpses of it because my grandma watched it all the time, so I can't tell what it was about.
No, Touched by an Angel is more along the lines of I can't even think of. It's just a show. It's just a regular.
It's just a nighttime drama.
It's a nighttime drama.
I remember that Della Reese was there. She was great.
When Della got Jesus.
Yeah.
I missed the curse words. I was raised on cursing Della. Della got to a point where she didn't use that language no more. And it was a problem for me.
She was touched by an angel, CBS.
That's why she took the show. She took the show when she found the Lord. And he told her that she couldn't entertain me anymore because she had to stop cursing. I curse. I love Jesus. I don't understand. I don't feel judged.
I could be wrong, and I'm gonna just show my ignorance here. She is. You shot me in my pinky toe, right? Is that the kind of
Yes. And shortly after Harlem Nights is when the Lord visited her and told her she needed to stop.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
So I bring that up. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to tell you all one fun fact about me. When you mentioned about All My Children, I am named after Carla, who was the first Black character to ever appear on the show.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
So there was a character. She showed up in '72. Her name was Carla. I think it was just she was there. She was Angie's friend or something. And she was there for a second, and my mother was trying to find a C name because she wanted me to have her initials. And that is why I'm there. And so the Black character thing is very real. That's why my mother always stayed with All My Children.
And
It's
Oh,
influenced lots of families. There are a lot of brown boys named Quentin because of the Guiding Light. I know too.
I feel like you might know all the boys named Quentin because of the guy.
Nick of Hastings.
well, I bring that up because I feel like that's what Bridgerton feels like. It feels like one of those soap operas that people are now talking about and able to point to certain things and be like, oh, girl, did you see? Because, I don't watch The Young and the Restless anymore, although I'm sure I could probably turn it on tomorrow and know exactly what's going on after one episode. But that's the feeling that I got from Bridgerton. But there is this issue and theme of race. Is it present in Bridgerton? And how does it appear?
I feel like it's present, and I feel like they tried to address it, but they did it so subtly and very quickly. They refused to let that be the driving theme. We got here because we did this, that, and the other, and they, acknowledged us, and we're moving on. And nothing is going to prevent that from happening. So I'm not sure how I feel about the fact that they didn't address it more, but to me, it felt very quick in the series. Like it would come up, they would address it very quickly, and they move on.
I feel like they were trying to do this utopian what if thing with that piece of the story, which I actually appreciated. I feel like they were doing what if race wasn't an issue? Then this is the world we live in. And there would be old black families, there would be old white families, there would be multicultural families. This is the world we have now. We have a black queen, and there are black people, and there are people with money, and that's the real driving factor. This is what the world would be if race wasn't an issue. Yeah. And I think that's why they didn't belabor it and make it a storyline, because they were trying to set up this is what the world should be kind of thing. I kind of like that part about it.
Yeah, well, and I feel like in all these conversations about representation and what it should look like, and something I say all the time is I'm like, it would be really dope if like black people could just exist and just like be around because they just there. And Bridgerton gave me that. Like I was like, yes. Like I was like just being present in the world, not only like in the front, like in the main roles, but also in the background. Like we got people running around with dreads in boxing rings and not.
Hey, God.
You got it in there. You got it in there, Nick.
Yes. That brother was boxing in his dread. Amen to the boxing dread.
But I did appreciate the small moments. Like there's one moment I can think of, and it's when homeboy from the Colorful Family. Wow, I'm so bad at names. You just sent a whole list of people's names. the
Duke?
The dad of the family with the women.
Oh, the Feathertons. The
Feathertons. Yes.
Oh,
so
yes.
Lord Featherton was like, hey, Featherington. Was like, yo, you should throw this. Like, your dad did not get here to have you throw away the opportunity to like they layered it in moments like that, but they didn't like Carla said, belabor it. It was just like, this is a part of the conversation. This is like something that I could wager against you because of the reality of your situation. But like, I'm not gonna sit on that. So,
you know what else I like too is that I think this is the way the new vision of a multicultural cast. That there are scoundrels everywhere, and there are decent characters everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And because the Duke's father was a whole scoundrel.
Oh my God.
It was fine. and the piece was so not weighted by race that I didn't feel that need to be like, why black man got to be a, because it was so many demons running around. It was so much foolery and terribleness. He was just another layer, and it was more about the autocracy, the what do you call them? The aristocracy. It was more about the money and the class for everybody.
So the show that we watch, the series Bridgerton, is based on the book series by Julia Quinn, and the first season has been The Duke and I. And I know we have in the comments, Leah, for her, it was that Queen Catherine was Black. So was she Catherine, or she was Charlotte?
She was Charlotte.
She was Charlotte. So for me, this is the period that I love. I love these shows, and to just sprinkle in some chocolate. And there was one exchange with Lady Danbury and the Duke about how they got there, and it was because of Charlotte.
Right.
And so now this is what we're going to do, and then that's it.
That was it. Yeah.
And that was like maybe the third episode. You didn't have to spend a whole episode explaining how the Black people got there. It was just so effortless and so refreshing. And then people started talking about, well, the Queen wasn't Black.
Yes, Charlotte was.
Charlotte was.
Yes, she was.
Yes, she was.
And I think that's the other thing that I appreciated about the show, because it demystifies this lie that there were no Black people in Europe in that period. That Black people didn't show up until I don't know when people thought the Black people got there, but it was well before slavery.
Right.
It was before the triangle of trade. Black people been in Europe. Black people been everywhere for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yes.
Shakespeare wrote about one.
People seem to forget.
Get that, yeah.
And he wasn't a slave.
No.
He was a Moor. He was a warrior.
Very powerful man.
He was high. He was the aristocracy. He was the society.
He had a household. His wife married into some money and to some prestige.
And what I also
about it. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I also appreciate it got like good chocolate. Like it wasn't just like,
oh no, it wasn't mediocre chocolate.
Oh,
this is Godiva.
Good dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh.
That picture you put up, Jade, I love that picture because it has 3 different representations of our melanin. I love that.
Even though I've heard a lot of criticism about colorism in this show.
Let's go there.
Yeah. Like what? What have you heard?
What have you heard?
Well, that's what I have heard. I've read some articles questioning the choice of the main characters are very light. But as soon I was reading the article and I was like, but Lady Danbury she's not light.
Lady Danbury is dark woman. The father was dark.
I think the
fine man, the boxer. His whole family was chocolate.
Woo!
Yeah.
But I think he was a main character.
Well, he gets into the question of like, what do people see as the main characters, right? So I think that the characters that they're thinking of like offhand are the Lord, I can only think
Marina.
about the men. I am so sorry. The men are
the character's name was Marina. Get your dirty mind out that man's gut.
I'm so sorry.
Your mind is in that man's gut.
I couldn't think of anything else. I was like, oh, the Duke. But the Duke and Marina, like would be the main characters. I think they were like looking at mostly. But like we're saying, that world is filled with people. Like, and also like, if you want to talk about like really we're counting lines now, like let's not play this game. Like when you talk about like the power that the Duke's father has in this land, and the way in which he was just like the way in which the black people just like were able to just carry themselves in this world without fear of repercussion. Like just this idea that they could just autonomously walk through life and just like, and I knew that they were the ones in control. Like I was like, work done. Like especially Lady Danbury. Like I want every single one of her costumes made to 5 times bigger.
I need
me.
I need a cane. All of her canes. What's his name is Martins. He played Will, the boxer.
Mm.
Will had a whole storyline.
I wanted him to hit me in the face so hard. I wanted him to just like hit me. Just like,
and then I was just gonna be like, oh, and then it was gonna be a scene. Other stuff could happen.
So
like,
I find it interesting that there are these questions about colorism held up against Bridgerton, but even I, a dark-skinned woman reading the article, in the middle of the article, were like, but wait a minute, there was so-and-so, and there was so-and-so, and there was so-and-so. And then in the scene where you see the prince, when the queen has brought the prince to meet one of these women and marry him off, there's a dark-skinned girl standing next to the prince.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking to this dark-skinned girl when what's-her-name walks through. So I feel like there are some cases where we can question, but have we gotten to the point where we just automatically question colorism now?
You know, I think the pendulum always, there was a line family in a All in the Family episode where they were talking to Mike about tipping the scales, about, you know, sometimes you have to tip the scale completely out of balance to get it back to balance, right? Sometimes you got to put a little more weight here or there. And I just think Black people are oversensitized right now. And because they have become sensitive, they understand it's a problem. Now we got to put all the weight on this side. And I just think we have to figure out how to watch stories from a neutral place, because now we have the opportunity. These criticisms were extremely valid when it was one Black show with 3 Black characters once every 2 years. When it was one film with one Black person in the cast they were like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that what this is just coming from a place of our own personal anxiety as a culture, as a community. We need to start retooling how we look at storytelling, because we actually have stories that are being told about us now and by us.
I really like what you said about, sorry, Nick, about the pendulum. I really like that, because if you think about the early sitcoms from the 70s, the Norman Lear shows, none of those people were fair. They were all dark-skinned people. Weezy. all of them, you know, and so I do believe there's a pendulum, and I do think, Carla, to your point, that we can be sometimes oversensitized and on guard for what we think is not gonna, I mean, you're not going to do right by me when you put me on screen. We're always looking for that. But I also think it's what you allow yourself to see, and I think that goes to the point about whether or not they were main characters or not. There were main characters, and the question is, can you open up enough to see that? You know, is your filter so that you can't even see when it's happening right in front of you?
Right.
Because none of these people are big names. They all got paid the same, so it's good. But I'll say that I came in and I had that lens on of like, I was like, why are there so many white people? I was promised Black people, I'm not getting, that's not being fulfilled for me right now. What is happening? Like, why are the Bridgertons white? Why is the name of the show Bridgerton? They're white. I was like, what is happening? This is not. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm with it. I'm on the journey. Mostly because the Duke showed up, and I was like, and then, but then he was in the boxing ring, and I was like,
oh my God,
back to the box.
man,
back to the boxing ring.
Like, and then I saw the man with dreads in the courting scene. You know, like Jade, you mentioned like the small moments, but like in the moments where like the door would open and it closed, and there was a black man with dreads, and then it closed, and it was just like all these moments where I was like, oh great, like cool, like thank you for not making a deal of the fact that that man was there to court you. That's awesome. Like what a concept.
and they didn't try to. What I appreciate, especially about the hair piece of the storyline, is the black people had the hair that black people have. Mm-hmm. Dreads are not new. They're not a phenomenon. They're not something that we decided as a culture is a new thing. Black people's hair is dreaded since black people been on this planet. So it's like, oh, they're making modern, they let them have dreads. No, that brother in the 15, 16, 17, 1800s probably had some dreads.
Right. They didn't make him put on the powdered wig this time. Did. They just had him with his hair, which like for so long they include us, but they try to cover the fact that we're black the whole time. Like they're like, we'll put him in the powdered wig, and then no one will know.
Like first of all, was nobody wearing the powdered wig but the judges and the people who were doing that? That was a sign of some other work. Folks wasn't just walking up to the crib with the powdered wig on.
Unless they're black. And they got
read a book.
The black ones need something so they can cover up their hair.
Like that's one of the things. Like when you talk about Jade, that was just kind of liberating. It was liberating as a person that is on. I'm the resident philosopher and armchair historian. I need to add that to my title too. But literally, black people had dreads and natural hair, like Marina's little frizzy fro. They didn't try to straighten it. They didn't try to just put it in a little bun and a little bunch on the side. Just push a little frizzy hair up.
You know, when Marina walks into the Featherington home and they say and the mom says that, your father's cousin has fallen on hard times. We're going to take her in. And so the cousin walks in and it's Marina. And she's got all this hair. And you see everyone stop and go, and so automatically I'm thinking, okay, what are they going to do to this little black girl?
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't about that. It was because she was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They never talked about her skin color. They never talked about her hair at all. That was never the issue.
Right.
They had some other issues, but that was never the issue. That was so refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
And that she was that the sisters looked at her like, if she's here, then we will absolutely not get a man. Like
right.
She can't be in this house.
They knew that she was the desirable one.
It's like it's over.
They were like,
right.
Oh no. She can't say, Mom.
Like, well, once they go black, they never come back.
Seen it before. Mom, seen it before.
And that she wasn't just wearing the skin. When she has the interaction with the woman that owns the clothing store, the dress shop, and she's making the dress, and the Featherington's credit is no longer any good. And the little black girl comes in, Marina. She sees this woman, and she says some things to her in French. Now,
that I'm refreshed, they did not feel the need to translate for us.
Right. They were like, you don't even know what she said. You just know what she said.
Black women talking. Watch the nonverbal.
That's how black women talk to each other. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll put up a couple.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'll put up a couple of because we have folks in the comment section. Yes, Natalie. Yes. Very refreshing. And yes, Judy. Thank you. The modista.
Yes.
And if anyone speaks French and knows what she said, I still would love to know. But I think it had something to do with the dressmaker being from Haiti and maybe getting out, you know,
That was
getting
that
out.
was her character's name was Guinevere. When
Guinevere.
Marina and Guinevere had their conversation.
Yes, but whatever Marina said, do.
I think
Guinevere.
I thought she was telling her, I know maybe you're not really French because
That's what she was saying to her.
Right,
That's
you're
what she
not
was saying
from
to her.
France.
She was like,
Do you want me to out
French,
you?
she was like,
you can make
you can
dress.
French, but they're ignorant. They're ignorant.
Right.
They don't know this. They don't know that ain't real French.
Right, but I do. So you're gonna make this dress, right? You're gonna make all of our dresses, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Like voulez-vous say avec moi?
That's why. Rather just grab the collar and just pulled her in. And like,
Right.
listen.
she read her. She read her very well.
That's correct.
Yes.
Oh, Judy got us. It was her calling her out, basically telling the modiste that she knew she was pulling wool over the aristocracy
That's
about
right.
being French. Boom!
Yeah.
See,
Judy.
you know what? Thank you, Judy. But also, let's talk about the acting on this show, right? Like, we didn't have to like know what she said to know what she said. Like,
Right.
you were able to be like, oh, okay, because that's it did live in this very soap opera space where like the stakes were so high all the time, like that, like everyone was acting as if it was the last thing they would do. Like everyone, like every character was making decisions that like even the Duke, who seemed very apathetic, like he was very intense in his apathy. Like it was, oh my goodness, his brood, like the way he just looked so pouty.
And I can't stand you. And all of the Feathertons, that whole family of Feathertons, with the exception of Marina, I call it the House of Karens. If you, I was like, not near one of y'all, not a Becky, a Susan, or a Karen in this house. The House of Karens.
And they were very much the three stepsisters.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
To Marina's Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Very
much were. And their mother was, I know we're still on the race question, but the mother, the kindness that these women had to display just for survival, the ways in which they had to use their femininity and play all of these patriarchal games.
I was just gonna mention how Violet, when they wanted to break off the the engagement between Phoebe and not Phoebe, no, Daphne. Between her name, the actor's name is Phoebe. Between Daphne and Ned, what's his name? Ned, the gross man. He was so
Yeah.
great. How she was like, we do what women do, we talk. And so they just went and she like, it was just interesting to show that as like them taking the power in their hands, and then to like not only make it this like secret thing that happened, but then to have homeboy Bridgerton, who I can't stand. Anthony needs to go away. He's like, oh, I assume that he's like, I like to handle things differently. And she was like, sir, you can't handle things. Like, let's be very clear. Like, I handled that. And now I'm knitting this thing because she's marrying the Duke. Thank you. Like,
Anthony was a whole Trump. He was a whole Trump kid. Anthony was Don Jr.
Mm-hmm.
It was the growth. It was the most annoying Darth Bro thing I'd ever seen in my life. And that's one of the things that made the show so good and so operate.
mm-hmm.
Because you have to have energy.
So let's move to the question of class, because you talked about Mother Featherington, because I can't remember anybody's first name, but Mother Featherington, when she took Marina down to the bottoms, basically, to show her what could happen to her. At first I was like, what is she? But she was doing it from a very genuine place. Like, look, this is why I'm trying to get you married so that this does not happen to you. She was a very layered person to take that time to do that with that girl. Like this is not a joke to you. You need to take this seriously. I thought that was just because usually she would have been, the wicked woman that was just mistreating her and being mean to her. But that's not who she was.
No, and they put so many layers on her when we find out that the husband is just a degenerate gambling drunk, and that there is no money, and she has to now we're in the society where if my daughters don't get a husband, they'll be down in this place. We will lose everything, and you so stupid. Now I got to play all these games to get these dresses. Cause we have to play the game. You put us in the position we have to play the game, and I don't have any power. So what do I do?
And I feel like the stakes for her are so high because, I mean, you can tell just by their fashion design. That's like the costumes were so brilliant, but just by the way they dress, you can tell that she was not like her family didn't think that she was going to get married. Like that's the story I picked up at least. She was kind of the dowdy one that like no one thought was going to. So she needs this to work. And and she wants it to work for everyone because she knows that she was almost in that spot.
Oh, but when Marina, now this is how they had a conversation about color without having it. In that scene, when she got her on the street talking about this could be used this with you, and Marina says this is already me. I ain't scared of these people. Mm-hmm. She was like, this. I know these people, and I feel comfortable here. Right. I don't feel comfortable in your house. Mm-hmm. I said, ooh. Netflix, y'all think I saw Keenan Ivory Wayne's?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, y'all better give me this moment.
And then there were a couple of characters, to Natalie's point, that wanted to do something different. They wanted to go to school.
Wait, I'm so sorry. Before we go there, can we please highlight Judy's comment about marrying Rutledge? No, she should not have married old Rutledge. That man wanted to use her as his own personal object. That's the way he spoke of her. She should not have married Rutledge, and it worked out. Her holding out got her the brother of her baby daddy.
Oh, the way I cried when she found out that she was right all the time, and that man had loved her.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
She was like, I was so mad at him and he loved me. And then his brother showed up and was like, listen,
I got to do the right thing.
Right. He was like, my brother got you pregnant. Okay. So now we got to take care of you. We can't have one of our kids out there struggling.
So that is class politics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do when you have a title, when you have land, and all of those things are supposed to stay in the family. Because if they don't stay in the family, well,
and that was the other thing that they did so well was show how political it all is and show that it's so Ned was needed to marry a Bridgerton. Because he is down here and he wanted to be up here. He needed that to separate himself. And then also how the entrapment, the entanglement of it all. The Duke. I think they entangled each other. I think it was purposeful.
And the thing about is that she could have married a whole prince. But everybody's like, but Duke though, the Duke money different. It's you don't lose if you marry the Duke, honey. You have no bad choices in this
Mhm.
Oh, and then the little jealous girl and her mama.
Oh yeah.
When she tells
The-
her, so you don't even want the prince. When the girl tells Daphne, you don't even want him.
Mhm.
Why are
what
you?
is Cressida? Is it Cressida? What's
Yeah,
her
I
name?
I
think
can't.
Something like that. Something like that.
The little blonde girl
She's
The little
That's-
blonde girl.
that was swooning. Oh,
right.
Yeah.
the one
that's
that
the perfect word.
gave us that greater feigning lesson, which
Yeah.
tickled me.
But yeah,
But
but
that
that
was the
also
other thing.
that
Like, yeah, it's Cressida. Yeah.
that battle
I'm sorry,
that
Cressida
battle
Caliber.
that battle that Daphne was having to she's like, I'm supposed to marry for love, and that wasn't coming from like the place of naivete, like because that was the other thing that was nice, is that like she clearly had no idea what happened after you married someone or anything. She didn't know what was happening, but she saw love in her house. Like she saw, like, unlike most people in that time, like she saw a mother and a father that did really love each other, and so like they loved raising their family together. They loved having kids, like. So it wasn't like she was living in this. I love that they didn't paint it as like she's ridiculous. Like she's living like, you don't marry for love. It was just like she was like, why can't I have that? You had that. Like, why I should be able to get that too. Oh, and she found it. Oh, Mr. Hastings.
Oh my goodness.
I have to say one thing, and I just got to get it out of the way, because I had an argument with my brother-in-law. I know this sounds weird, but this was an argument with my brother-in-law. Now, we got a whole lot of the Duke's body, especially after the wedding.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
We had a lot of him. But I could not see no royal peen. And I just feel like if you're going to show me something, I should get to see everything. And I felt cheated. And my brother-in-law said to me, well, I mean, how do you think we fit with, like, they show a lot of men's parts on these? What? No, not like they show women. You see all the women's parts. Some of the men's parts that I as a connoisseur of the eggplant, I just wanted to know what was going on. So I walked away with more questions than I had answers. And that was my only critique.
That's fair. I would stand by that critique with you. I would do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe we will start a campaign today that season 2 of Bridgerton must have at least Duke Peen.
Well, that's if
Right.
Reggae Jean Page has it in his, contract, and he's comfortable with that.
Yes, it's totally
I
up
want
to
to be
him.
comfortable. I want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
It's
But I
totally
don't
up
even
to
think
him.
they asked him this.
Right. I don't think it was even on the list, because we saw no Peen, so I don't think it was even on anyone's mind. But I also don't know if they. I don't know
It's
if
on
they.
Carla's mind.
I was like, wait a minute, now you gonna show me all of this, but I don't get to know the real question.
I didn't even. But the thing is, we didn't even get to see we got to see like a little bit of the V, but we didn't even get to see enough of the V for my life. You know what I mean?
I didn't get no Ken doll, like none of the cut. Like,
Yes.
I was very pleased with the little brown rump I saw. I thought that was so precious and cute. I would gladly watch that again and again and again.
Nice.
Well, since we're talking about bodies, let's just talk about costumes.
Okay.
Okay, let me pull one up here.
Right.
Girl, the wigs.
Where is Lady Danbury? Because
I have her on this.
Oh,
I mean, even here though, like, look at this style, okay? Like the hat cocked to the side, the cane, the giant ring on the finger, the floral embroidered, like everything that she wore was just exquisite.
impeccable. It was.
But
Oh
it had
my
a little pimp to it too.
Right, like she ran it. She ran that world.
Yeah.
Because ultimately she's a
She
hustler.
is a hustler. Thank you. Yes, that's what I saw. I thought it was perfect.
Yes.
Literally, she was clean as the board of health at all times and not very sober. That's the other thing I liked about the lady. The lady oft had a cocktail in her hand. And then she
Mm-hmm.
had the old grown party with the cards
I was
and the
about to say when
gambling.
she threw that ladies' night party and they was in there playing bridge, I was like,
Yeah.
I think that was.
hey.
I think that was my favorite part of the series. I loved
It was
that
a
they had that.
mood.
Yes, it was kind of like this is what we do.
Right.
And Lady
And
Danbury educated her. She was like, this is how you move. You want something?
Right,
You ain't got to talk to your husband about nothing.
right, right. We
She was
we
like,
are
she was like,
we are the
especially not that man. Like, I know him. Like,
You ain't got to talk. Don't talk to him.
don't
right.
worry about him. She's like, he's broken, okay? And I know why. You gonna figure it out. But there's a lot going on there. So don't you even worry about it. Do what you want.
Right. Just hang with us. Yeah.
It was
the
gorgeous. But the
the
costumes were
colors.
beautiful. But the wigs,
Yeah. The everything that the queen had and every wig that she wore was amazing. How come all the black women, because even Lady Danbury's hair, I don't know if that was hers or not, but it was right there.
It was laid.
It was laid.
It was laid.
mhm.
So who is doing their hair and who needs to help all these other black people on all these other shows
Well, that's the thing
with
is that
bad
like
wigs?
I wouldn't be surprised if they actually had some black people on the makeup and hair team. Like that's what I don't think people realize. There are so few black people working in makeup and hair. I know
Right.
actors have been in this business forever. And like they post on social media, like, oh my God, I walked into hair and makeup today and the hair and makeup person was black. And I literally cried and hugged them. Like,
Here's the other thing about that. And I don't think people really get it. Um, there is a difference between snatching some hair off the shelf and building a wig for a costume.
Wig.
yes.
Where the hair goes wrong on a lot of these shows is that the white folks think you can go grab some black hair off the shelf and slap it upon somebody's head.
You need to
They're
you need to
trying.
get the sculpture of the head.
I know for a fact that every single wig on that show was handmade. You
Mhm.
can tell.
I just
Those
showed
they
it.
made those wigs, those women.
Just
And this
Oh
happens in
my.
classical theater all the time.
Yep. Yep.
Classical theater, they build your wig for
They
every
build
show.
wigs. Yep.
Like, so those wigs, that's the difference. Tyler Perry be over there down at the dollar at the hair dollar store, at the beauty supply, snatching wigs off the shelf,
she
throwing them
said
upon
mid
somebody's
K.
head. You know, you
Nah.
can't like you just gonna go snatch up off the $40 wig and put it upon somebody's head
That's
and
not how
expect it
that
to
works.
look right on the cameras. Oh,
Jay, I want to go back to you asked about the costumes, and I was just wanting to know if anyone else remembered this. The costumes for the Duke, I remember black, obviously, and purples and those kind of hues. Did you all see him in any light, like really light colored? I
No,
didn't see.
he's sad. He doesn't wear bright colors. I think the brightest color he wore was when his baby was being born at the end.
Okay, I might have to go back.
and for the period, and the man of his status, he wouldn't have been bright colors.
Right, I
Like
just noticed,
that,
like, yeah,
yeah.
when you put that picture up of all of them a few moments ago, Jade, I noticed that the Bridgertons they had blues, but his is always black or really royal, like purple or burgundy, and I thought those were really striking on him.
Well, and
They
I think they also did a really good job of like grouping people costume wise by family. Like, because his
Yeah.
They did.
dad
They
also
did.
wore a lot of purples.
Yeah.
Like his like that was just like the family color.
I think you're
Um,
right. Yeah. I see that.
but also they sad and brooding. He can't be bright yet. Like
Yeah.
his life got to change a little bit.
But he
Well,
all
wasn't
of
the
dark.
last accident, huh? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, but he wasn't dark like, like in black, like he was the villain or anything. All of they're very mature, very rich, very regal, very settled, mature colors. That's kind of the way I saw it. Very
Yes,
rich.
he was.
And you also, I don't know if you all noticed, but his collar was never all the way done.
Nope, show wasn't.
He was never always buttoned up. He was always
He was cool.
giving us a little neck.
Yeah, he
Oh
was
my
cool.
God, when he ate that ice cream.
He was giving us
Oh,
a little neck.
Daphne didn't even know what was happening to her. She was like, I don't know.
It had never moved for her there.
Yeah,
That
she was like,
part had never moved. Her shondo. She had never felt nothing in her shondo before.
Yeah.
So speaking of the Shondo,
See there in the shondo.
Carla, you brought up the theme of sexual liberation
Oh yes.
in this show. I thought it was, I was watching with my mom yesterday or a couple of days ago, and she just seemed perplexed with the girls. She's like, oh no. Like, they got to find out where the babies come from. Like, that was a whole conversation. The Featherington girl, well, she said she's pregnant. Where does it come from? And then the mother says, it's catching. And they all like, so we could have a baby like that? Like, the idea that they had, none of them have any idea how babies come into being was amazing as a plot point.
well, and especially while all the men are running around like sticking it in any and everything, just proudly.
And
Like,
this idea that if you are a woman and you are sexually free, you are not able to be a part of the higher class. You're not able to be a part of polite society. And the fact that there are women in this world, like Donald Trump Jr. Son, Bridgerton
Anton.
the third Esquire.
Anthony.
You said Anton.
I did. I'm sorry.
Whatever his name is. His girlfriend, like, she was like, I'm not playing these games. I'm not going to be your puppet. I'm not going to be your back door, and I don't want to walk in the front door with you because I don't want to put on a stupid dress and be at a stupid party. I'm happy with my life and a guy that can accept that I like to get it in and put my knee behind my ear sometimes. That
The opera
was
singer.
in the opera singer. Like, she's
Right.
like, listen, I just want to put my ear behind my knee sometime and kick it. And you want to do this, you doing this whole performative thing. And I don't want you to come and then bring me into your world. Your world is not comfortable. The fact that Guinevere, the modista, the girl that runs the modista, is like they're in a whole polyamorous situation. Like, her and Bridgerton are out there swinging. They are kicking it.
And the artist's wife.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Kicking it.
Benedict.
Like, she know what's up. Like, they partying. Like, that to me was very refreshing, because one of the things we've done in this society is decided that the LGBTQIA community popped up out of nowhere. They just grew up like weeds 10 years ago. They just became gay people and queer people. Like, they just happened. And it's because of video games. Like,
Great.
so that was really refreshing. And Daphne and her mother's conversation, when she was like, you taught me everything, but you ain't tell me nothing about being a woman.
Right. She's like, you taught me nothing. And I love that was spurned not just from the fact that she didn't know where babies came from and she felt betrayed in that way, but also when she was like, all the pigs win. So then no one no one won. And she like realizing the chain reaction that had, like, she was like, you didn't teach me how to do anything. Like you just like told me I was supposed to get married and it'd be this beautiful thing. But like, now I'm in a position of like real life power, like, and I clearly don't know what that means. And also, this man told me he couldn't have children. I've been feeling bad for him, but he just don't want to. And so he been like, oh no, what's on the tissue? What's on this tissue?
Like literally, she had to go to her housemaiden, her house girl, and be like, teach me, tell me everything. And she's like, ain't you married? Like, what do you my mistress? What I'll tell you? She was like, everything about the penises. I need to know about the penises. She had to find out in the streets.
On that wonderful honeymoon, I was like, y'all must be tired, but this is great.
In any other story, the opera singer would have wanted that that entree into this other world. So him saying, I'm going to get you a dress and I'm going to take you home would have been like, oh, I've wanted this my whole life. But that wasn't, I appreciated that was not at all what she wanted.
This show got the artists right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we are gay. Yes, we are partying. Yes, we don't want your money because we wear costumes on stage. I want to go home and get some and go to bed.
Right.
Like,
I don't have to be. I don't need you to rescue me. I think that was the piece that I loved.
Yes.
I don't need to be rescued.
She's like, I have a career. People love me. This man is gonna let me stay here. Like when, like, I'm kicking it. Like I'm good. Like I don't need all of this that you're trying to make me into something so that I'm acceptable for you.
Right.
Thank you, Natalie. Yes.
Right. And I'm out.
Like, she was like, take your little flowers and your tight ass carriage and go on somewhere because I've been on stage. I did a show. My throat hurts and I'm about to put the CD behind my ear. Get some rest.
And she wasn't like a can dancer or, someplace that the dregs of society would go for entertainment. She was high art.
She was a skilled performer. And she was like, if you can't deal with what you want me in your world, can you come to mine? But can't. You can't do this over here. So let's not. It was very liberating to see women making choices, even in that very constrained environment, that there were women that were moving for themselves, in their own freedom. People, not just women. There was a whole community of people without judgment, and they told that story about the painter and his wife so beautifully. I thought the conversation with him, with the painter and Bridgerton, and he's like, "Hey, wait a minute, that's your wife," and that's your. He was like, "That man over there, I have a whole ass man I'm in love with, and I can't say nothing to him."
Mm-hmm.
So what are you lecturing me about? My wife knows my whole life. We live our lives and we are making something work because neither one of us can have exactly what we want. So what you lecturing? Grow up. I was like, ooh.
Especially when you think about marriage in this time, like it was all about status. It's all like you don't marry for love. You marry for
this was 1877, right?
Yeah. It's like the perfect
13.
It's like this is like the ultimate beard. Like beards are not new. Like lesbians and gays have always been marrying each other so that they can keep up appearances. So and live their life at the party with the artists at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're really fun.
Oh, baby. I remember. I was a young tender actor once in these streets, honey.
Oh my gosh. Who was your favorite character? Who was your favorite character?
The Duke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Besides the Duke. I think the Duke is a foregone conclusion, but who besides the Duke?
Will's right hook.
Lady Danbury.
I did love Lady Danbury. Lady Danbury might be my favorite, actually.
You know, I have to say, and not because he was fine, but one of my Lady Danbury, I think that's a hands down. That queen, like, yeah, they were just like, but Will was
I did
truly
love
one of
Will.
my favorite characters
I loved
because he was having real life middle class issues.
And the story that they started to sprinkle in with Featherington at the end,
Yeah.
like, loved that plot line. And like, I did, on top of Will's right hook, I did also think that he was a very interesting and layered character.
Yeah.
And you know, I did also love Portia, the Portia Featherington, the mom. Like, I think that she was like
I did
a
too.
very interestingly layered and like complicated character, which was really nice.
And I loved Marina.
Mm-hmm.
I did love Marina because she was so tragic.
Mm-hmm.
She was really a good girl. I loved her.
Penelope.
And I was glad she got her princess husband. I mean, her princess brother, because he died.
Yeah. So I would just throw in about Penelope. I think she balanced a lot in this series. She loved the Bridgerton boy. She tried to be a good friend. She was the best friend. You know, she balanced a lot, obviously, but she's an unforgettable character. Even though we haven't talked about her much, she's unforgettable. Like she seems to be the nexus with all of them, and I would say if I had to tip my hat to anybody, it would be her too.
So
see, I couldn't stand her. She tapped into every bit of my care and anger. I didn't find anything pathetic about the little hoe. I didn't want to see her no more. I wanted her to shut up. Now, Eloise, her best friend, the Bridgerton girl.
Wait, who were you? Wait, Stacey, who did you say?
On my nerves.
Stacey, did you say Marina or Daphne?
No, Penelope.
Oh, Penelope.
Penelope was balancing all that stuff. Yeah, she was balancing all of that. But then Carla was talking about what's her name?
Eloise.
I did love Eloise.
Yeah, Eloise at first, but at the end she was getting on my nerves.
With her
girl
being the detective.
Yeah, she was getting on my nerves.
Well, that was bad storytelling. They just couldn't keep trying to give her something to do, and it wasn't her story.
Mm-hmm.
That was bad storytelling. That part. But that Penelope, they just wrote. They was like, "Oh, we need the physical manifestation of Karen energy for a whole series."
I thought the sisters were more. Well, they didn't have enough to say, but right. I see your point with all of them being Karens. But I think I liked Penelope in terms of how her character, how they created her character.
See, but she, I don't know how I feel. I feel like I knew that she was Lady Whistledown.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
At some point, I caught on. I still don't know how I feel about that choice. But then we really got to see the Karen of the Karen, because she used that to literally as a tactic against Marina to get something that was never going to be hers anyway.
Right.
And so I was like, you just went from like kind of annoying to like actually vindictive, and I'm not sure.
Yeah. If you're gonna be a bad character, be all deep in your badness. And that's what she was.
But you know, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and that's one of the things that a lot of these characters so interesting. Even if I wanted to punch her, but the storyline was very interesting.
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert. Did anybody feel like Nick in terms of Penelope? Like, I felt that way too, partially through. I was like, I think you might be. Yeah, I got this feeling.
So is she Lady Whistledown?
Yes.
That's the way it looks. She is Lady Whistledown. Now, I thought it was Lady Danbury for most of it. For most of it, I thought it was Danbury, and then I was like, it ain't Danbury because she don't care enough about these people.
Right. Yeah, she ain't in it like that.
She ain't featuring none of these people enough to write about them.
Well, and I think that she could be the only one that could be whistled down because no one else knew that Marina was pregnant at the time that it was told.
Right.
Because at one point I thought it was the queen, whatever, that little guy that she said was a gossip. And they didn't want to talk.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he might have been labeled down.
So, what are you looking forward to for next season?
The Duke. I also want to get a little more into Will and see like where he's going with his boxing tour or like what. I haven't read the book, so this will be speculating based off of just seeing the shows. But and I don't know, the Duke as a father, I think is going to be really interesting because he really doesn't want to do it, and I think that'll be a fun thing to watch.
Honestly,
but is it that he doesn't want to do it?
I think he wants to now. Once he saw the baby,
I think he'll grow up. I think that. I mean, I don't think that he knows. He thinks that he knows how to be a parent because he wasn't raised by anyone. I think that he doesn't want to do it because he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't think that he'll do it right because what he did see of parenting was not good.
But I thought it was mostly because of the disability. Like he's so afraid that he's going to pass this on to his child.
What disability? He doesn't have a disability.
He wasn't that he was a stutterer.
Oh, I don't think he worried about the stutter.
I think I see the last image of them together, him and the girl and the baby. I feel like that's how that chapter is closed. I don't feel like that's going to be an issue. I think if the writers are smart, they will change the focus of the season to another set of debutantes. And they will have these stories as satellite stories that are around, but there will be another girl. They'll focus on Eloise trying to get married or not, or they'll do something. There'll be another season. I hope they come back every season until and marry off some different folks with some different gossip. Because now we know that this chick whistle down. Then the whole story needs to change. The whole community needs to grow. It needs to be more people in the community who we've seen. Anything else is not going to last to a third season, I don't think.
Unless they explored his fear of fatherhood because of who his father was. Fear of repeating.
But I think they got all of that out. I really think they got all that out. I don't think they can tell that story anymore.
I've been scratching the surface with him.
He's the reason we're watching. There's no way they're gonna stop talking about that.
Yeah,
they can't stop. Just by a rating standpoint.
I didn't say get rid of him. I said the story about that part. I'm just talking about this story plot line about him being a father and having his fathering anxiety. They washed that clean. We're not going to talk about anxiety about the father no more. They told us they rang that out this time. So whatever they talk about, I don't think that's going to be it.
Well, I'm not satisfied. I want more.
Anything else you're looking forward to for season 2? I want more Lady Danbury.
I would like a little more. Can we have enough Lady Danbury? Is that possible? I want to see some more of the queen, the personal life of the queen. Because the glimpse of her dealing with the Mad King, and that girl was acting her behind off.
Yes, she was.
When she walked out of that room, when she walked out of there from the dinner, when she flipped out, and I want more of that. I want more story about Charlotte.
I want more of that.
Because that's some shit. Because that's real.
She is good.
It happened. Oh,
yes.
And she looks like one of the Sykes. I said this to Jay. does she not look like one of the Sykes?
She does.
She does.
We don't all look alike.
No, but you got cousins.
Like one. That's her cousin.
Queen Sykes.
All right. Anything else about Bridgerton season 1?
Oh, hit me in the face.
I thought it was well done. I thought it was beautiful.
I did.
I thought all of the sets were beautiful.
Oh,
The sets were just beautiful. The parties and the balls were amazing.
Yeah, I think to the point Carla made, or the attention to detail, from the hair to the costumes to the set, everything, you can appreciate a show where the people pay attention to details. I did not catch anything that seemed off, and I can appreciate.
I mean, the food, or the way the tables were done, you could like complete period piece, head to toe.
Right.
Gorgeous.
Only thing that was off was mini shirts, and we were thankful.
Nick,
On that note, I think this concludes our discussion of Bridgerton. You can shout out where people can find you. Where can people find you, Carla Stillwell?
Oh, you can find me all over the World Wide Web. You can find me at Newsreel with Carla Stillwell on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I am also the executive director and founder of the Stillwell Institute for Contemporary Black Art, where we, in essence, get money from folks to give it to Black artists to make Black ass art. So we are www.thestillwellinstitute.org. These are all the places I can be located.
Nick of Hastings.
Yes, nickwickham.com.
Judy's going to come for you, too.
Listen, Judy, you can fight me, okay? Like we can have nickwickham.com. You can check out my show, The Come Up with Nick Wickham, at thecomeup-with-nickwickham.com. Yeah, that's it. The friend of or league member Scott Woods is the guest on Wednesday. So if you like this and you usually like Scott, you'll love that episode. So check us out Wednesday, 6:00.
All right. And Stacy has never been on one of our league broadcasts. So welcome to your very first episode.
Yes.
Thank you. So pretty much I'm simple. I'm at Stacey Croom Rayleigh on Twitter, and I am Stacey Lynn on Instagram. Just hit me in the DMs.
And your organization?
It's going down in the DMs.
That's my business.
Oh,
okay. Well, on that note, afroscapescurls.com, we have the League of Excellent Extraordinary Negroes tomorrow, talking about The Expanse and the 3rd episode of WandaVision. We also have on Tuesday the 28 movies that you should watch for Black History Month. So come armed with your picks, because we're going to build a list. All right. Thank you so much. Good night.
Can I come back again? Can I come back?
yes.
Cool.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry. Dave has to tell you, Dave may not want you to come back.
Anyway.
Because you're in Arkansas,
Right, her best friend from Arkansas.
Oh my God. I'm never going to live it down. I'm never.
No, you're
not
not.
to be confused with our best
Not at
friend
all.
anywhere else.
Oh my God.
And this is my best friend from New Orleans, and this is my best friend from San Francisco.
All right. Goodbye.